And my goodness gracious, what a profile this next guest has. You're an amazing woman here. This is Yvonne Thomas. Welcome.
Thank you
And
so
it
much.
says podcaster, Salvation Army, and other boards. So she's like famous. You're famous. Where are those pictures, Dylan, that we have of Yvonne? Can you put a few of those on the screen? You got to pull them up. I can't believe this resume you have here. It's
I've
fabulous.
been working hard for
You
the
have
last
it.
25 years.
She was born in Fort Ord
Yes.
and raised in Seaside, and is a graduate of Seaside High. She was the first African American student at the University of Southern California to graduate with a BA degree in sports information broadcast journalism. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're a veteran sports journalist, media professional, and founder and CEO of both Precision Creative Services and White Golf Magazine, and immediate past president of the NAACP Monterey County branch. Currently is a host and executive producer of Central California Conversations with the Yvonne Thomas podcast. I want to talk to you about podcasts, Yvonne.
Okay.
And she's vice chairman of the City of Seaside's Community Safety Advisor. My goodness, this is amazing. I don't think I've ever had a resume on one person like you. You're part of, you're so much part of this community.
Yes.
And one of her favorite memories of 2022 was modeling in the Hospice Giving Foundation's Fashion and Compassion Fashion Show. And she hopes to utilize her skills to help this organization fulfill its mission and vision. Wow. Okay, because I'm interested in podcasting,
Yes.
I want to know about you and podcasting. How did you start doing podcasting? Tell me how that all happened.
How that all happened is because of my degree, which is in broadcast journalism.
That's
And-
what my degree was
From USC,
in.
University of Southern
I
California.
just went to Fresno State.
Okay. Mine came from USC. And immediately after graduation, I worked at a television production company,
Ooh.
but went into the management side of it.
Oh.
So I've never really been able to use my broadcasting skills.
So you decided to do a podcast.
I decided to do a podcast finally.
Oh, my
and your
goodness.
setup here, it's really taking me back
Oh, yeah.
to my college days and
Yeah.
having so much fun with the podcast. I've been
Ooh,
doing it for
you
about
said
6
the
months
magic word. You said the magic
now.
word.
What's the magic word?
Fun.
I'm having fun.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
so
magic
important.
word.
It's so important that
It's
you
the
have
only
fun.
reason I do this.
Mhm.
I do it for fun. People
Yeah.
said, you'll love this.
Mhm.
So my manicurist, very nice Vietnamese woman,
Mhm.
and she said she was doing my nails, and she goes, Gary, how you make money? What TV show?
Mhm.
And I said, Diane, I don't make no money. She said, you don't make no money.
Mhm.
I said, no, it's a hobby. It's a hobby. It's a hobby. Podcasting
It
is a hobby.
is.
Yeah, aren't
It's
we
really
having-
difficult to make money off of
Yeah,
it.
but we're having fun,
But
and
we're
that's
having
all that
fun.
counts.
That's correct.
Yeah, and see, I got to meet you tonight, and
Mm-hmm.
you have a passion for podcasting. When did you start the podcast?
About 6 months ago.
Okay, so how do we get it? What do we go in? What do we dial in to hear your podcast?
The name of the podcast is Central Coast Conversations with Yvonne Thomas, and it's on all of the major podcast apps, Google, Spotify.
Bingo.
So if you just type that in,
Type that in.
they'll pop up. You'll
Say
see
it
my
one
picture.
Say it one more time.
Central Coast Conversations with Yvonne Thomas.
Well, yeah, you got a great name.
I like my name.
I love. Yeah,
I like my
that's
name.
a showbiz name. Look at there it is. Look at all
There it
those
is.
platforms she's on. My
Yeah,
goodness,
yeah.
Spotify,
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts,
Yeah.
Google Podcasts.
And in the past 6 months, I've interviewed a lot of wonderful people from this community. I've interviewed the mayor of Seaside, Mayor Oglesby.
Yes.
I've interviewed our lovely police chief, Chief Borges.
Uh-huh.
I've interviewed the new president of Monterey Peninsula College, Dr. Marshall
Well,
Fulbright.
you got me beat.
I was able to get them all for interviews, and
Good for
they've had
you.
so they're all up there. So check out the
Now,
podcast.
how are you doing the podcasts all online?
Doing it all online.
So you just dial them in, and then you put the podcast together and then post it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I've been doing all the producing myself because
How-
it's part of my passion.
There you go.
Mhm.
How long is the podcast? Your interviews, say with the mayor or whatever. How long?
It varies, and that's one of the cool things about podcasts. You don't have to lock into like 15 or 30
Yes.
minutes. The mayor's interview went about 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
The
Okay.
police chief went almost an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. He had a lot to say, and he's very passionate about the city of Seaside.
Well, of course, great.
Mhm.
Well, that's wonderful that
Yeah.
you're doing this.
Yeah.
And what can we do with Monterey On Tonight to help get the word out for you? What do we need to promote?
Get the word out that I'm looking for interesting stories.
Okay.
And my passion is that I am from this community. I was
Yes.
born in
Born
Fort
here.
Ord.
Yeah.
My dad was in the Army
Yeah.
and ended up settling here in the Monterey Peninsula. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. And my older siblings, they're all 10, 12, and 14 years older than me.
Okay.
And I was the baby.
You were the
And
little girl.
I was the little one, but they got to live in Germany and all of these other exotic
Because
places.
your dad being in the service all
Dad
over the
came
world.
back to Fort Ord and retired, so
Ah.
I didn't get to live anywhere else other than here.
But it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. I
Yeah.
love this community, and so I want to get the word out about all of the fabulous things that are being done here in this community. We already know it's one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Planet Earth.
I left
Absolutely.
after Seaside High School. I lived in Los Angeles. I went there to USC to school and ended up staying in LA for over 30 years. And every time I would tell people that I'm from the Monterey Peninsula, they'd be like, "What are you doing down
What are
here?
you doing
What are you
here?
doing down here?"
Why
It's
aren't
so
you
beautiful.
there?
Yes,
Oh,
it's so beautiful up here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on our show.
Mhm.
I'm sure that we're going to be able to cross utilize, what we do here and what you're doing on the podcast.
Mhm.
Would you consider having me on your podcast?
Absolutely.
Wouldn't that
Absolutely.
be fun?
When I didn't know about your show, and
Ah.
someone mentioned it was KMBY,
Yep.
and my memory of KMBY when I was growing up is the radio station.
Okay.
That was the radio station.
I'm going to share something with you.
Okay.
When I was at Fort Ord,
Uh-huh.
long time ago, I was on KMBY radio on Cannery Row. I was a
Mhm.
disc jockey.
Okay.
But you weren't born then. But I was a DJ at KMBY Radio in Monterey. That's how I got the in with KMBY. And KMBY went away, Yvonne. They changed the call letters to
Yeah.
KNRY
Okay.
for Cannery.
Okay.
And when I got here and I got into the TV business, the KMBY call letters had gone to another FM station.
Mhm.
And then that station changed to something else because they went to country western music.
Mm.
And so I went to the FCC and applied to get those KMBY call letters back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I did, and I put them on the television station that we
Mhm.
built here in Monterey.
Right.
And then my friend Chris White came into Monterey and purchased KNRY.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Gary, I'd like to change the call letters back to KMBY." Of course. You can use my call letters and put them on the radio station. It's a heritage radio station. It goes
really is.
way back.
It really is. And a lot of my friends that don't live here anymore, and we stay in touch on Facebook, they talk about things when we grew up.
Yeah.
KMBY is one of the radio stations.
KMBY,
Everybody
1240 a.m. on
1240. KMBY 1240, exactly.
In fact, the jingles, they're playing the same jingles again
Are they?
from 1240 from the old days.
Okay.
KMBY 1240.
Okay.
And it's also on 95.9 FM now.
Okay.
So there's 2 signals,
Mhm.
AM and FM. Anyway, it's so nice to have you here. And I really appreciate knowing all about you. My goodness, your resume is unbelievable. And I look forward to being on your podcast.
Okay.
Let's do the platforms again that she has the podcast on. Dylan, I think you've got a slide that has all of the podcasts. Can you find that again?
Yeah, I just pulled up it on the internet.
You pulled it up off the internet? Okay, let's do that because there's a lot of ways to hear Yvonne's radio
That's
show.
the cool thing about
Podcast.
broadcasting.
Yeah, okay,
Mhm.
so read them off. We got
There they are.
Spotify, I see. Is that Podchaser?
Podchaser. Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is that one?
Castro.
Castro,
Mm-hmm.
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
Overcast, and Google Pods.
Yeah.
Good Pods. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
And they can pull it up anytime.
Anytime.
And how many shows do you have now in the
There are 6 episodes in the can right
6
now.
in the can?
And I'm
Okay.
looking for a couple more to do before the end of this year, and you may be one of my
I would
you may
love
be
to
one of my
be-
next
I would
guests.
love to be on your podcast. Yeah, maybe Gary should start a podcast. Was it
Maybe
hard
we
to
should.
do?
No, they're actually pretty easy to do, but
they?
I have a broadcast background, so all of the editing of the audio
I have a podcast.
You do too.
I know. I have a broadcast background.
You do too. So the editing of the audio and everything was pretty simple for me.
Easy.
You'll have no problem.
And if
with
I
it.
don't know how to do it, I'll get Dylan to help me.
Absolutely.
Dylan knows how
You've
to
got
do
the
this
setup
stuff.
here already, so yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be pretty
Hey,
easy.
did you know, really, now I was invited just recently
Uh-huh.
to go back on KMBY radio to be
Really?
a disc jockey again.
Okay.
So I don't know when they're going to put me on,
Uh-huh.
but I'm going to be
You're
back.
gonna do it?
I'm
You're
going to
gonna-
be back on the radio
Good for you.
just for fun.
Good for you. Just for fun.
Just for fun.
Because you're
And you
loving
can come on KMBY and be my
Can
guest.
I?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And we'll
I'm gonna
promote
hold
your
you to-
podcast.
Now you've told your listeners.
I
So-
have. I made the commitment. Yvonne's going to be on my radio
I'm
show
going to be on his radio show.
on KMBY radio.
Mhm.
Anyway, so nice to have you here tonight.
Yes.
So nice meeting you.
You as well.
And you just opened you explored my future to podcasting. You know, everybody's doing podcasts. now.
There are so many out
So
there
many
right now.
podcasts, but yet they work.
They do work.
They work. People love podcasts.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's just what it's like in 2023,
It is.
and it's going to be like that in 2024 too.
It is. It is.
Anyway,
Alrighty.
nice to have you here. All right, let's get back to a little bit more of this wonderful singer. Do you know who the singer is that we're playing tonight?
Lou Rawls?
Lou Rawls.
Absolutely.
See, now there's a lady that knows
Absolutely.
Lou Rawls.
Oh, yes.
Did you hear me do the list with Wendy?
I did.
Huh? Michael Bublé,
Mm-hmm.
Lisa Marie Presley,
Yes.
Bee Gees,
Mm-hmm.
Glenn Campbell,
Yes. I've known every name so far.
Whitney Houston,
Yes.
Shania Twain,
Yes.
Andrea Bocelli,
Yes.
Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons,
Yes. Absolutely.
Elton John,
Mm-hmm.
Rod Stewart,
Yep.
Lionel Richie,
Yes.
Neil Diamond,
Yes.
Taylor Swift,
Yes.
Sarah Brightman.
Now, Sarah Brightman, I don't.
Sarah Brightman, well, see, we got one that kind of, she's
know
kind of a operatic singer.
Okay.
Hall & Oates.
Yep.
Tina Turner,
Absolutely.
Lady Gaga,
Mm-hmm.
Tony Bennett,
Mm-hmm.
Cher,
Mhm.
Kool and the Gang,
Oh, yes.
Natalie Cole,
Yep.
Earth, Wind and Fire,
Of course.
Johnny Mathis,
Yes.
Diana Krall,
Yep.
Michael McDonald,
Yes.
Smokey Robinson,
Yes.
Mariah Carey,
Yes.
Paul Anka,
Uh-huh.
Phil Collins,
Mhm.
Santana,
Yes.
Eric Clapton,
Yes.
Andy Williams.
Yes.
Where's the other one here? Where's the rest? Frank Sinatra,
Of course.
Nat King Cole,
Yes.
Stevie Wonder,
Mm-hmm.
Fleetwood Mac,
Yep.
and Billy Joel.
Okay.
She
And-
knew
and
all
except
except
one.
one.
Except one. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sarah Brightman. I'm gonna play a little Sarah Brightman.
Okay,
for
and
you.
then I can familiar, and then I can say I know who that is now. Mhm.
All right, let's go back to a little bit more Lou Rawls, and then we're gonna get Dylan on with the artists from 2023. People that I don't know, names I don't know, but Dylan's gonna introduce them to me. You stay tuned. He'll be on at 8:45, coming right up.